In the beginning, few believed. But we knew the UFC was meant for much more. Now we're home on ESPN+. Start your free trial of ESPN Plus today.
Blog Talk Radio.
Listen closely now, you all come near. I got a story to tell. Listen closely now, you have no fear. I won't tell you no tales. What you hear can set you free if you have heart to care. What you hear can only be your words for me to share. I'll tell the truth, I'll tell it straight when it's my time at the pearly gate. I got a story to tell you. I got a story to tell. I really want to prepare you for what I have to share. The wise men said we need to know. As old as God is, I will always be a child. No matter the mama dearest, Snow White, Cinderella beginnings, I will always remain a child. With each of life's atrocities, BS and game alike, I will always maintain a childlike demeanor. And yet to be a child in spirit is not to be confused nor mistaken for naivete. It's simply a state of being able to sit through the mess of life with a smile on your face. So please, don't assume I don't know patience, for I've had to suffer the patience of life through pain and tears and joy and happiness. So please, don't assume I don't know faith, for I have moved through faith and stepped out on faith with each new breath taken. So please, don't assume I don't know trust, for I have trusted a lifetime to the God, Goddess, and spirits that provide for all of my needs. So please, don't assume I don't know life, for I have lived an eternity of lifetimes, giving more than taking, and glad for it. As old as God is, I will always be a child, His child, a child of God, and I will hold true to that child inside. I will preserve that child, love that child, protect that child from itself and others. I will always give life to that child inside. So please, don't assume I don't know love, for I know and love the child in me. Knowledge on the wise, and now they know. You listened closely and you all came near. I had a story to tell. You listened closely and you had no fear, 'cause I told you no tale. What you heard can set you free if you have heart to care. What you hear could only be me to share. I told the truth, I told it straight. When it was my time at the pearly gates, yeah, I had a story to tell you. I had a story to tell. I really wanted to prepare you for what I had to share. The wise men said, Oracle, now we know.
Live. Hello, everyone. This is Live and in Charge, the Food Alchemist. We're going to talk about all the things that have the things to do with polyamory and polyandry, which is a big difference, and we need to know the definition of which we're coming from. So we are live not only here on Blog Talk, but we are actually live on Facebook. If you want to call in, let me give you the number for the top of the hour of the show. And if you want to speak, you got to push that number 1 so we can speak to you. That number is 845-277-9313. That number again is 845-277-9313. I'm going to say it one more time for you out there. 845-277-9313. That is the number to be and to call into the show. And you must push that number 1, else I'll think you're staying on the line just to enjoy the ambiance and 2 beautiful goddess, gods, and whatever you feel that is in your energy coming at you with this beautiful subject. So, also, if you want to look at me live and just look at me and trying to get the other sis on the other line, you have to go to Dr. Cicely D'Angelo, PhD, and push that button and you'll see me. And you can wave, only taking questions from the line. I'm trying to do multiple things as well as put this on YouTube. I only got so many hands. I'm not born an octopus. I'm just born little old me humanoid in this form of body right now. So I'm looking forward to a wonderful show with my sister. Just sparked up and something just told me to reach out to her. And this is not about bashing any men for you guys out there. It's just from a woman's point of view on all of it and shall be. I'm not into bashing my kings, my guys, or whatever you want to call yourself, or the other, because that is not my style. That's not how I do things. I like to educate. Do you hear me? Educate and let you learn something. So that is my goal with this show. It's something that you've never known before. So, without further ado, let's bring my sister on the line. She's going to introduce, and I want y'all to know if y'all want her services, because not only does she talk about this, she's also a life coach. She does counseling. She does crystal healing. Oh, she makes some beautiful elixirs. I'm just saying. So, you know she'll grow after my heart because y'all know about me and the crystal grid. So, this is going to be a wonderful show. I just want y'all to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Raise your hand if you want to have speak in. I love an interactive show. So, without further ado, go on, my sister.
All right. Hey, sister, how you doing? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. And I just want to tell you how much of a pleasure it is to be on your show with you, having this discussion, a discussion that I think really needs to be had among the sisters so we can really understand, what's going on with this poly idea, 1 minute, sister, I was looking on Facebook to see if if you had went live on there yet.
Say that again?
And I don't see the live on Facebook yet.
I'm live. It says I'm live on here.
They
I don't
do?
know what's going on. Let me see. Maybe I got to do it again or something.
If you can, push invite. That way you would invite me to there. But I'm going to go on to your page and see if I see you up there. That way I can just come on in and know I still don't see it.
Okay, then I'll do it again. I'll end it and we just do it again. Ain't nothing like it is. It is what it is. End and let's begin again. Okay. Delete. Okay. Confirm. Come on. So let's see if we can do this again. It's got to be done. Come on, we can do this. I got faith in me.
You can click invite, and then you can invite me in, and then I can go on and click on it and be right there on the video with you.
I don't see where it says. Okay, well if I go live, this is my first time, ladies and gentlemen, having somebody on here. It says go live, but I'm going to see how. But I don't have no little boxes to invite anybody either. Ain't that something? This is a blip.
You know it go like that sometimes. It's technology. Technology, I'm telling you. Let's see. All right, save. Okay, we got that. I got that up, so I got something positive. Let's see. Like, oh man, Sugarfoot. This is like trying to make me. This video live, so I don't know what's going on. See, I need to go to all right. It hasn't popped up yet on my little thing, and then I go to your page and I don't see it either. On my Dr. Cicely D'Angelo page? Okay, hold on. That's probably where I'm going wrong. See? We'll get it worked out, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a matter of time. Let's see. I'm going to. I just sent you the link just in case, because it's not live on my personal page. It's live on the regular page. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to play a little skitty scat, and we're going to get this going. Yes, we are. Here we go. It shouldn't take that long. We're going to do this. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. I'm just going to post this, and we're going to do a watch post live. I haven't figured it out, but let's begin while we try to still figure this out. So the reason I thought this subject was so beautiful was because we're talking about polyamory. You always see, like you see these new shows, reality shows coming on about sister wives. And there was one with the gentleman that had the wives already, and then it was another one in search of sister wives. That was another one that I heard was coming out. Yeah. So I was like, this is crazy, but we've known about polyamorous for a long time in different cultures and everything, but it was always about the men. Then in Nepal, in India, there was some polyandry talking about where the women were doing it, which I thought was wonderful.
another aspect of polyamory of being married to multiple people instead of it always being the woman. So that made me like, wow. And then you found it, sis.
I found it. Okay.
Did you find it? That's what I mean.
Yep, I found it. I see you on here talking, but it ain't the same thing you saying right now. But it's saying you live, so.
Okay, it's a computer thing. I ain't gonna worry about it until I get it in. So everything they get in, like I said, I get in when they fit in. So it's one of these glitches. Somebody's doing something. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So, as I was saying, the beautiful part about this was seeing it from their perspective and how they went about it. Making work easier for the woman and the man, not putting stress on the woman and the man, having children and how it's thought about from the male's perspective, which I really, really, really like, from the woman in the village. So that was in Nepal, there's some in Kenya, there was another place in South America. I was looking all this. I had all of this up into my computer, but I wanted to read you some, so I'm going to let my sis talk for you because we want to bring positivity. We don't want to be out here dogging. You know what I mean? Like when some guys talk about they're downright disrespectful with it. And I didn't like that, but this is how I found this. It was like, what? I love this. She addressed the gentleman, and it wasn't derogatory. She just explained. We still want to be, very not open-minded, but it was his point of view. And he's entitled to this point of view because that's his life and that's his journey. You understand? And that's what I like. We all have a journey to complete, and we all have the things that we want to do. So, and she didn't argue. She just made it a point, and I was like, okay, I got to do this. We got to talk about this because it's coming more and more on the radar. This needs to be talked about, dealt with in the most positive, loving, energetic way, but also from the woman's point of view, how to get to it. So you wanted to read the definitions of polyamory because there's a lot out there, and I'll get to that too.
Right. What I do is I like to refer to Dr. Layla Africa's definitions of the word because he really breaks it down when he's telling us about the fact that, when we come here, we have a whole different culture that's over us, that's defining everything we do. They're defining the words, and they're telling us that polygamy or polygyny means the same thing. But he breaks it down to where he says that polygyny, Polygyny, that was the practice of the woman having multiple husbands, 2 or more husbands. Now, the polygamy, which is Polygamy, that is the practice of the male having multiple wives or more than one wife. And just to be clear about it, because if you was to Google it, it's going to say polygyny is a description of all of these types of arrangements to where one person is wedded to or committed to more than one wife or husband. But he specifically says the polygamist refers to the man only, whereas the polygamous with the N refers to the female only. So I just want to get that straight because I hear a lot of confusion concerning that. And if we're going to go off anything, we don't want to go off something that we just Google, when we have one of our scholars right here who's basically, breaking it down to us of how the ancient ancestors look at each of these different kinds of relationships.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And, that's, basically, I just want to say that, today, sexuality is basically defined by patrilineal culture, which means it's built around, mostly the man. So when we're looking at the polygamous part of things, that's mostly, what it's referring to. But now when we go into the polygamy part, we're actually having an opportunity to look at a matrilineal side of things, to where the woman actually had the power to, define some relationships and make some decisions about how she wants to look at herself in a sexual manner. And so when we're really talking about this polygamy, that's where we're going to get into the controversy.
There you go.
Because we're used to thinking in terms of, a man can have, multiple relationships with women, but we're really not used to looking at it from a perspective or through a lens where the woman actually, gets to define some things about what it means to have sexual freedom and define some relationships that we want to be in, outside of the dominant culture, or what we see the dominant culture that has been impressed upon us teaches. And that's basically, the bottom line of it right there. And I just wanted to, I wanted to just kind of get some clarification about that, because we have so many things that have been taught to us as far as what's supposed to be right or wrong. Most of it is coming through a religious kind of connotation sometimes. And Dr. Africa, he does go to say that the sexually polygamous woman in matrilineal African society is not sexually unfaithful. So all of those type of sexually unfaithful terms that we have for women who, we feel are grouped into a category where they are sexually liberated or sexually free, we didn't look at it like that. Our ancestors didn't look at it like that. And in fact, monogamy as moral, and polygamy as immoral is forced upon Africans. We're socially engineered to accept that above all other forms of relationships, and causes cultural abrasion and a deep conflict in our cultural psyche. So I'm glad we're having this conversation so we can kind of get some of that back and open up our minds to the fact that women do and can have choices about our relationships and our partners without it being looked at in a negative fashion.
Right. And I love that. That is wonderful. So, okay. And what is your positive take on it? Like, what would you take away from having brother husbands?
When I think about this from a female aspect, I think about it more as shared work and responsibility, bringing back the communal spirit, tribal life, and really just going back to the power, of the people. And right now that's kind of taken away from us in several different ways, because we have this picture of this nuclear family, and the father works these days, the mother works, And it's just two people holding on to all that responsibility in that family, trying to bring balance, trying to make it work. So when I think of something like having two husbands, that makes me think of a way to expand our empire, our resources, to take back the power just to define, our own ways of life, what we feel a family is, and, giving me the power to actually say, I can make some decisions for myself, and I can be a builder of a household, and maybe be the person who can bring people together to experience this shared way of life again.
And just what do you feel about sister wives? How do you see that?
I see sister wives as, to me, that is a way of life to where you have a service to others mentality. It's not just all about individually building what you see fit. I look at it as an efficient way of family planning that we need for our children, because with the fact that we're just looking at the traditional monogamous nuclear family, these days it's getting quite unrealistic. Nobody's at home with the kids anymore. Some of the elders have been also burdened down with, additional responsibilities. And we do believe in, the village itself raises the family, but, just to take some of these pressures off of people, I think that the sister wives situation is a really positive situation to be able to do that. And it can eliminate the competition that we have between one another, to try to have a mate, experience a mate, and experience all the parts of a mate. The bottom line is we're doing it anyways. To be real honest with you, we're doing it anyway. Okay? Sometimes we're sister wives, and it's not because we want to be, but it's because we went on and settled to be, but we turn it around to make it seem like, we're having so much control over the situation. And this is where the service to other things clash. Because if you're going to be in service to others, you're always going to make a decision that is going to be best for the family. Whereas the service to self is always about, okay, what's in this for me? What am I going to get out of this? And when we're being undercover sister wives, we're still getting something out of it, but that element of competition comes in. Because it's always, like, may the best woman win. Instead of, what, sister, hey, we got this going on already. Let's try to see how we can use this situation to make the best out of everything for our families, But we're hiding it. Sometimes the men have created that issue, that problem, because they haven't always been honest, about the fact that some point in time, they've decided that maybe they're not the best monogamous partner, and they want to, explore some of these things too. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of this stuff is giving power back to people to not try to fit into these rules and, this standard that we've been given by the dominant culture. And that's what we're doing anyways when we're lying, when we're sneaking, when we actually know that these things are going on, but we're taking our power and giving it away because instead of us having control over the situation and defining how we want it to be and actually bringing this out into the open so the man can be honest about the situation and create something more than just these sexually based relationships, we could get a lot farther.
Hello.
I think in a way we kind of, I'm not going to say we make somebody lie or cheat, but just the standards and the rules that we have placed upon each other from this dominant culture, actually depletes our problem-solving abilities. It depletes our creative abilities because if we have these ideas, we should be able to bring these ideas to our partners and, talk about them openly so we can explore them before we go out, into the world and make a decision to be deceptive about it or to, create a situation where nothing but pain is going to be experienced at the end of the day, even with these children, because, we're in these situations and we have these kids, and sometimes we're forcing an ultimatum or a decision. And somebody's going to lose when you do that. Somebody's going to lose. So I like what you had put on the post. It's about creating like a win-win situation, for everybody, all the way around. Physically, we don't want to just look at it as, I could have more money if I do this, or I could have more resources, but that's part of it. And it's nothing wrong with wanting to have, more resources and more finances available to your family. If you actually think about it, that would help us have better choices as far as how we're educating our children. Some people go to work all day, and they got to drop their kids off at school, and then they got to put them in the daycare, and then they're paying the daycare so much money every month, and that's taken from the household. So when I'm thinking about sister wives, that's a resource to be able to call on your sister, to keep this finance inside of the house. To where we can do something more positive with it. We can build a business with it. Or we can get an additional vehicle if that's what we need. Or we can pay for the children to have piano lessons or sports classes, And not to retract from the sister wives thing, but with the brother husbands thing, it's benefits in that for a man too, because with some men, I know my husband, he worked 2 jobs. You know what I'm saying? And if there was a household with 2 men who were sharing the responsibility, that would allow each man to be able to focus more on paying attention to their health and other ways that they can contribute to the family, the children, and I mean, it would free them up from having to work so much.
Yes, I agree.
It would bring more income to the house.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. The positivity of it but also there is the children seeing more than one male role model, positivity, supporting and loving in different ways. You know what I mean? That to me, that's a beautiful thing. Seeing men share their knowledge with the young men and showing them, look, you know, I do this. He has this skill. This brother, like, you know, maybe this brother's good at building carpentry, and the other brother is good at working on cars, and the other brother is good at stocks or bonds. I mean, same thing with the sister wives. They do that, but they're showing them different skills that they can have, options that they see in a positive, like creating your own tribe. That's basically how I see it. You're creating your own tribe. And, you know, and then you're being positive with each other and you're going back and forth. You're able to converse and sit down and have meetings and consider each other, because it also shows people how to love. And that thing about jealousy, you know, you basically would have to get over that. That is something polyamory, poly is not for everyone, because it brings up some things in self that you need to work with. In itself, whether it's, you know, mental, physical, it comes out. If you got mental stuff, it's going to come out physically, because you know what you think affects you physically. It can make you get depressed, it make you have mood swings and all that other, you know, psychological effects on your body. So I like that when you're in this relationship, you have to deal with if there's jealousy. So you sit down and talk. You don't walk around mad and it's okay. Where a man or a woman or, you know, whatever, they can walk out and just drive the car. Whereas where there's more, they're sitting down and they really have to talk about their feelings. You know what I mean? Because they're being accountable. Because there's other people in this relationship that it affects. So to me, that is the positive of it, of them, because they have to be accountable. They have to stand up. They have to speak on it. They have to show, okay, this is how I'm feeling. And why is this showing up? What is it about me that makes me feel like this, that I need to be jealous because she's with me, or the sister wife? What is it about her that I don't like? And I don't know. The pettiness, you know, the pettiness that, don't get me wrong, sisters, some of y'all can be quite catty. Some of you brothers are just like cruel. You know what I mean? Both ways. You want it your way or your way. Both sexes. That's what I'm saying. It's both sexes. It's not one or the other. But this is something that is the time to deal with and work with. Because you know that, like I said, again, you're setting precedents in your home, what you want your children to see, but not only your children, because you no longer just have separate children. They're no longer stepsisters and brothers. They're sisters and brothers. They play, they eat, they go to school together, they celebrate things together. They're there. You come as a unit and you function. You know what I mean? It's pretty much like, what's that show? That woman that had all those blasted kids. I think she had about 19 or 20 kids. But the kids were taking the responsibility. And with this, it's adult being adult. The children don't have to grow up, but they grow up and have some stronger self-esteem, value, and culture. I think they can be on a positive versus, you know what, I'm the oldest, so, you know, I had to raise my brother, my sister, and this, and go to work and this and that. That's fine, too, because this world is hard to make a living just with one paycheck in the home that, like you were speaking of. A lot of the grandparents are raising their grandkids. Because
all right now.
Got to work so hard. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What did you say, love? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I didn't say nothing, sis. I just said, all right now. I was agreeing with you.
Like, did I miss it? So I like that because then they come together. But also think about this. All the children, they have sister, wives, and brothers. Imagine how many grandchildren and grandparents they have. Do you see how much loving when you come together as a family that would bring and nurture that child? Like, they would know so much loving and care in that tribe. and it would spread, and it would show them. Now, for me, that's a good thing, but also talking and communicating. And this, like I said, this is the best way to have a clear communication with your partners or partner. This is something that you also, before you get into a relationship like this, you want to talk over with your partner to be, for them to understand where you're coming from and what your thoughts on it and how you feel. Some are not cool with it, some are not. You want to be very upfront. You don't want to go in a relationship and go, you know what, I was holding out, but I like you and I want to be with you and all that other stuff. But I'm really a poly person. That's unfair to the person because that person invested their emotion and time in you. That's unfair. I don't care. You know, you just don't do it. Be upfront and explain. And I tell them, what is your definition of being poly? Poly to me is not, my point, you're in a relationship with a man or a woman, and y'all got this thing going on, and you decide you want to be with this other person. And you just tell them, well, they know about it. They know I'm open. No, sit down and talk about what it is that makes your definition of poly. Because there's poly, there's open, there's swinging, and all of that. And that's another show for another time that we'll get into. We're gonna really take the bull by the horn and crack this nut open because we're ready for this. So those are things to think about, the definition. Sit down and tell them your definition of what poly means to you and how do you go about it. Just like when you're interviewing, you know, your husband and you went on and you did the courting and the dating. That's important too. When you did the dating and the courting, did you sit down and talk about it? Did you show your vision of what poly was? Did you figure out how to structure you want your family? Do you know where you're going to live at? I mean, these are key, important. Your environment, your work structure. You're sitting down and you're taking another person and building them into your relationship. These are key points. And maybe there's a sister that can't cook. Because there are some that can't cook. So it might be a sister that helps this other sister to learn to cook. It might be a brother that can't really work on cars. He doesn't know what to do. Another brother could show him, man, let me show you, give you some basics, even if it's just to change the oil or really how to change his tire. You know what I mean? Let me give you some of the basics because they come together and they coexist. And they want to help each other, enhance each other in this relationship. Whether it's the children.
That's power.
Right. You're building your own little empire. That's how I look at it. Empire building. Empire building 101. The poly way.
That's
the
right.
And you so
you know, I wanted to. I'm sorry, sis. I wanted to say something real quick because you was talking about these children, and you was talking about how they can be allowed to be children, and the self-esteem. Yes. Because we don't have time anymore to just exist, to just be. And that's before the kids even get to build up any kind of self-esteem. We're taking it down with that because we've got these expectations put on them because they've got to play these adult roles in these families. And when they don't do it right, you know, we take them to, okay, you're not doing this right. And then, you know, a lot of people, we take it another way with the discipline and the yelling and stuff like that. When these babies they don't understand what's going on. They're not grown. Their higher functioning chakras aren't even developed yet. They're not even in yet, you know. So the consciousness is not able to handle all of this. So by the time they do get conscious, and you know, their self-esteem has already been torn down so much because we have already told them, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. When in all actuality, they're not able to do it right. They don't have, you know, the conscious ability that we have to get these things done, you know.
Right.
So I just wanted to, you know, throw that part in because these babies is up under a lot of pressure sometimes, a lot of stress sometimes too. And even I can remember as a child, as the oldest child, when my mom and dad wasn't together no more, I had to be like the second parent and take care of my sister and cook and clean up the house. And, you know, there was hardly any going outside with friends anymore or anything like that. And I was told, these are your responsibilities. This is life. So, you know, I mean, that's not giving power to anyone. That's actually taking it away. And that's just based on, you know, the parents, how they find certain relationships. If we could redefine that, you know, we can kind of change that. And, you know, everybody's self-esteem, I think, would benefit from that. Because even sometimes a woman's self-esteem is lowered or taken down when a man, you know, goes outside of the relationship to find other partners. Or even a man's self-esteem is hurt and taken down when a woman goes outside and seeks, you know, additional relationships. This in itself could be nipped in the bud by just, you know, being a little bit more open, more service to others, and, you know, taking back our problem-solving ability and our creative ability to remove these things and create a new reality, you know, with the different kinds of relationships that we have available to us. And I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, that's okay. It's all good. This is always like an open channel because a lot of people need to talk about it and they don't. They think about these nice shows on these reality shows, and it's all about that, and they don't get it. You know what I mean? They're not. I want to say not conscious of it, and the effect it has. Some of them think it's cute. You know what I mean? Because it's on TV, but they don't even explain some of the things that should be explained. That's what I feel. It should be explained. It should help, not damage someone in a relationship. It brings people closer together sometimes, and sometimes it don't. It just distance people because they don't want to do the right thing and speak on it and understand. There's more than one way to skin a cat, someone used to say. Why do you want to skin a cat out of it?
Say that again.
But
that's one of the great things about being a human being, though. We have intellect. Mm-hmm. We can define anything. We can have, you know, different cultural ways of life. We don't have to be grouped into, you know, these types of routines and different things. If it's not working for us, we can make something new, you know?
Right.
But what a lot of people are going to look at, especially when it comes down to the woman having multiple partners, is going to be the sex aspect of things. They are going to be looking at the sex part, and honestly speaking, we're half stepping on that too because, sex can be three-dimensional. It's not just a physical thing. But when we're just looking at the physical part of it, sometimes we have a tendency to get kind of territorial. Correct. To where we're putting ownership on a person, and that's oppressive. I'm sorry for the men and the women that's doing that. That's kind of oppressive. Now, if a person comes and tells you, baby, you the only person I want to be with, I don't want to have sex with nobody else, that's fine. But just to automatically assume that and then when you're with a person, just take that, to the 10th level and be like, okay, you mine now. You can't do anything but this. And that's a lie, because everybody can make their own choice to do what they want to do. So we're actually creating an illusion when we do that, instead of, like you were saying, to have communication and to be able to talk these things out so we can come to an agreement, okay? Because some people have came to their own, I call them silent contracts, because in their mind they have already decided what they feel should happen, and that's what they think is going to happen without even communicating it to that other person. And the other person, they could have said, no, we doing this and you mine, but you didn't ask that other person if they agree. You're being oppressive. You know what I'm saying? And this goes back to, what's her name? Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. It was a big thing in the media where they came out and said that they believe in, having an open relationship. Now, they didn't mean an open relationship to where they were saying they was going bringing different partners into their relationship. But what they both meant by that, and I like the way they put it, is that they gave their partner an option to, at any time that they felt that they were wanting to explore someone else, to do that. They never said that they did it, but they were saying, no, this is your option. If this is what you want to do, I am going to say that. I'm sorry with that. I'm cool with that. So, I think poly, too, is about, freedom, not in the aspect that we look at it from the oppressor's way as far as individualism and service to self, opportunities that we see that we can get something for ourselves or build something for ourselves, but just opportunities that you can give to your partner to free them, to, make them feel that they're not oppressed just because they're in a relationship, in a commitment, So we have to get that illusion away from us, because a commitment is not oppression. It's not. And I think that's why sometimes, we do have different things going on as far as the cheating and stuff like that, Not always, but I will say I think, some people may feel oppressed in these monogamous relationships, and it's just part of the whole deal that, we've experienced where, we don't have our culture and whatnot anymore. So, it's different ways people could be oppressed, and we're also oppressing each other in different ways. And then when we're just looking at, somebody giving us sex and then we're being territorial over that person's body, that's oppressive. We need to let those types of things go. We're not going to be able to build a better society for ourselves and improve our conditions if we don't actually admit some of these things to ourselves in honesty and our partners, and be able to respect one another and not get angry at someone because we're not controlling the situation. And the husbands, like I was saying, they gonna look at the sexual thing as far as the woman. But if you look at it now, we're not marrying virgins, we're not getting married when we're virgins. So someone else has already previously had sex with your partner, whether you know about it or not. We also sometimes get with a mate, have children, grow apart, and then we end up getting a new mate. And they call these so-called blended families, okay? To where two people have kids from other relationships and everybody brings them together. They call these blended families or whatever. So I think that men, not men, I'm not saying anything, negative about it, but I'm just saying men need to kind of open their mind a little bit and be a little bit more realistic, because you're not the only one having sex with a woman. You might be at that time, but previously she's probably had other partners, and if you don't work out, there may be other partners after you. So, I think the men will say that about the women, how, we'll unconsciously share them, but I think they're unconsciously sharing us as well, to where it could be, a more conscious thing. You could have power and actually you give yourself more control when you allow yourself to be a part of it with your partner, a part of that choice, And I'm sorry, I done went on and on. That's all I wanted to say, sis.
No, it's good. It's good. This is why it's called talk radio, darling. This is why it's called talk radio. We're doing it live. For some reason, I don't know what's going on Facebook Live. We've been on and off. I guess it's not. I have to figure out another mainstream to do this, just like Blog Talk is going through some growth.
We gonna go on live on Facebook another time, but I know how to start the live video and put you in it. So next time I'll begin with that, and then I'll bring you in, and we'll just be focusing on that at that time.
Okay.
And now we just focusing on our radio audience.
Yes, that makes sense. So I like everything that you said. It is very beautiful. With the brothers and all of us coming together, like, so I really feel that, and especially about men. Some men want virgins. Some men they seek virgins, and some women, no, I won't say that. Some women don't want virgins. A religious aspect, that's why some women and men want virgins from their doctrine. That's what they're taught. They should get a virgin or whatever. So it's got a lot to do with doctrine. So they think of a certain way as a woman has any experience. And same thing, I don't know. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know too many women that will raise their hand and say they want a virgin husband. But then again, I did see a girl. She was South African. She came from Africa, and he hadn't had relations with anybody, and she hadn't had relations, so they were both virgins. So she said the hardest part was trying to figure it out. It was like, wow, okay. I was cute. This is still happening, and it's really cute. They had to, figure it out. And that, I thought that was really wonderful. So they know they haven't been with anybody, and they wanted to make their honeymoon really special, and it was. So I take my hat off to them for that. So that's a beautiful thing for them to go back. But getting into the relationships with poly, people want to know, like, how would you go about how about meeting someone? in poly because it's not something every day everyday person, oh, well, I'm poly and I am looking for someone. There's different groups that you can go to. There's different, dating sites, different ways to go about it. But also, like I said, even as you're dating, please be honest with your partners. Please tell them, what you want. Some people just get invited. A wife or sometimes the wife actually interviews the next sister wife, where I've seen it in India where the wife married all the brothers. So it's very interesting. I haven't seen this come together as in America as of yet, but I know they were saying there was a couple in Portland. I had the article that she had a husband, fiance, and 2 boyfriends. So that's what I did read about, but I don't know how that works. I had a friend that was in a polyamorous relationship. She married one and didn't marry the other, and got pregnant by one, and the next year decided she was going to get pregnant by the other. So kind of interesting. And they lived in a home, and he built, and one worked, and they got to do stuff, and she did a lot of traveling and business, and the other gentleman took care of the baby. So it was really interesting to see that dynamic from knowing her first when she was married to her husband and the process she went through. And I said, how can you do, how do you go about doing something like that? Or what made you get into I wanted to take the burden off of my husband. He was working 80 hours a week to maintain the life we live in, and the only way he could see is for me to be home. To be home is work those hours. So that put tremendous amount of stress on him and health-wise, high blood pressure, diabetes, and other medical issues. And just happened to be talking to someone at a party and was very much interested, and they interviewed the gentleman that became her boyfriend. So it wasn't just done by her. They interviewed him together to be part of their triad. Yeah, triad. Triad is for 3 people to be in a relationship, which I thought was really quite unique, that she told me the steps they went about. And I was wondering, how do they spend time with each other, and doesn't jealousy come up? And she says, of course, at first there's always jealousy. They think you're spending more time with another person than with each other. So you sit down and you talk about how much time you want to spend with each other, how much you want to be involved with each other, and what role you want to take. Well, she was tired of staying home, but she wanted to go back out in the field because she liked what she did. And that was teaching other people. So the other gentleman in the relationship made a suggestion that maybe she can go back to work and he would be home to keep the house, because by that time she was pregnant and she just wanted to, have the baby, and he said he would stay home with the baby. So they worked it out where she did go back after having the baby, but he was home with the baby, so there was always somebody there as she grew up, so she wasn't missing the milestone. Just felt guilty about it because it was her partner and not a nanny. As my friend said, I don't want my kid to grow up with a nanny speaking English or Swedish or some kind of other language, which is really cool. So
right.
I thought really nice in that aspect.
That's beautiful in terms of safety and protection for the children.
Right. So
we don't want to be leaving our kids with just anybody.
Right. I don't know. My computer is dropping people from phone calls too, so I don't know what's going on with this. I guess it's trying to say you need to get a new computer. Okay. care about you, but you need to get one. You need to invest. So I don't know why but that was like kind of ugly, kind of really ugly in the way it did it. So, and like I said, anybody have anything to add? Let me know. I know I want to ask. I'm going to come to you 347 and see if you have anything you want to weigh in. And if you say no, it's okay. I understand. Hello?
I'm right here, sis. Or do you have somebody online?
Yes,
Is there somebody?
I unmuted 347. Yeah, I unmuted 347 to see if they had anything to say. So. Okay, I guess not. They're listening.
Okay.
No, they didn't have anything to say. So, I just wanted some people to weigh in, but you see, like we're not bashing people. Let me see if this is who I think it is. Hello? They ain't saying nothing either. I don't know. It's got to be Yvonne. Okay. No one's saying too much. So I don't know. That's why. Did you hear me the first time I unmuted you?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay. No, I unmuted you a time before I put the phone to see if it was you the first time. So I unmuted you twice. So I don't know. Yeah,
okay.
It's got to be something with the system because it's gone all kind of kooky and whatever. But I do want to play you guys a song because we put in some work. So I'm going to do Rihanna just a quick work. And tell me what you think.
Just get ready for work. To me, I be work. You see me do me dirt. Tell me about that work. When you are na. Before the table turn. For the table turn. Beg you something, please. Baby, don't you leave. Don't leave me stuck.
Okay, that was it. Just work by Rihanna. At the top of the hour, you heard Denise L. Cook on her album called The Oracle. And I got a story to tell. That's by her, which I really appreciate it. So we will, I will be playing one of her other songs. Yes, right there. I was trying to get Lunar Moon, which is my favorite song. And the other one is You Are the One. So I got to get her to send me a copy of You Are the One. So, because it takes a special kind of person to be able to say, you know what I mean? You are the one. You see, I'm full of jokes, right? I love laughing. I love really having a good time and really getting in touch with people. And like I said, I like subjects that can be controversial, but you can put in a positivity on it. It doesn't have to be negative. Oh, yeah. My thing is like knocking people off left and right. Oh, my gosh. I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're the only ones that been on and off. It done knocked like 5 people off and then 3 people call back. The show is not over. So if you have something to say, say it. So I wanted to see. I'm going to reach out to somebody right here to see if his mic is working. If the phone is, maybe it's just my computer. I'm going to try this one more time.
Okay.
Can you say something?
Microphone
Yeah.
check 1 2 1 2.
Okay, so he said 1 2 1 2 is working. Okay, just making sure because people are getting dropped off. You know how Blog Talk are.
I got a question for you though.
Okay, do you want to? This is my big brother. But go on, my big brother. Go on.
Yes. Greetings.
Greetings.
How important is a yoni steam, and what's the benefit of it?
You just got all off the topic.
No, and I'm going to tell you why. In clarity, I'm going to tell you why. This brother, okay. It's like you talk about
you want
multiple
to tell
partners
first,
and things.
You want to tell me why first? Which one you want?
Multiple partners and things of that nature, right?
Heck yeah.
Okay. Now, last in the womb for a while.
Correct.
So this is why I'm asking you this question in the yoni steam and what's the benefit of it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A man's married to this woman. They were married for about a year. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that she was still messing with her previous lover or, mate or whatever. They had a child together. The child looked like the man she was married to, but the personality trait was more of the man that she used to be with. Could the yoni steam, that's why I asked what's the benefit of a yoni steam? Would that, draw that energy and all of that out of that?
Well, the purpose of the yoni steam is to cleanse and do healing up in the yoni for the reproductive system to act whether you're menopause or whatever. So what it's doing is releasing all the, the not so nice bacteria, but also some of the good bacteria as well. So that's why you put in certain herbs in there to do the different healing for different properties to even make the woman even more fertile than she probably was. If she has a endometriosis, a yoni steam is good. If she has fibroids, the yoni steam is good. If she's going through menopause, it helps her body adjust. And it keeps it smelling lovely. And I'm not saying, not all yonis are good yonis. Whatever's are not good. You know what I mean? If you take care of it. Some women don't know how to take care of their yoni, and that's the issue. So the yoni steam and taking good care of it is really good. Now, getting back to the person that has a personality, that energy, not necessarily the sperm, but that energy from that mate. When you get with someone and you have sex with them, you become united. You become one. So she might have not did the separation from her ex when she got married to her husband. So some of those traits could actually come out through that child because that's still in her esoteric field. You see what I'm saying? So,
I just wanted to interject a minute. When you get a chance, just go ahead. Oh, okay. A lot of people are not actually aware of the fact that there are two different types of intercourse that you can have. There's reproductive intercourse and there's regenerative intercourse. And so I think some men might be worried about that when you think about having multiple partners, but there's a way that you can practice sex where it's not always reproductive. And, that's just another option, to look at, because I'm sure some men, that might make some men a little bit skeptical about it. So, that would be, and then reproductive sex is when, a man actually goes ahead and plants his seed in a woman. But regenerative sex is not like that. Regenerative sex is when you're going to, hold your climax, your orgasm. You're not going to go and plant your semen in a woman. You're going to hold that and send that to your third eye for energetic purposes and to use it, in a spiritual and a mental capacity rather than, just getting the physical pleasure from it. So that's another, option that can be looked at when you are talking about the woman having more than one sexual partner.
Right, but see, you up in the penthouse right now. You know, all men, and well, I'll just say most men and most women don't have the understanding, the knowing, or the skill sets in reference to that. You know, so that's a class in itself. You know, because if men knew about that, you know, they wouldn't be going out here buying Viagra, Cialis, and all this horny goat stuff. You know, because their energy would be more balanced, and you know what I'm saying.
Right.
I get you. I understand.
So I do understand what you're saying, sis, but you know, to just like you're saying, to shoot your gun, for a man to shoot his gun, he's definitely putting that energy in there, and then, you know, it is what it is. But you know, I just asked that question in reference to a conversation I had with a brother, and you know, he spoke to that, and I was wondering. But you're absolutely right. I'm very familiar, you know, with that. Just like having that spiritual connection before you even go physical, because that's another thing that I, you know, strive to tell, you know, the young people, you know, until you know what part that individual is going to play in your life, you shouldn't go there, because then you wind up being physically and emotionally attached to somebody who you really might not really want to, you know, make your partner, because, you know, sometimes we tend to just do things, you know, because of availability or because what we've already started. You know, ride down the highway just to see how, you know, what the end of the road looks like, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it.
You know, this comes back to, you know, we have got to take hold of our creative and problem-solving ability. There is not just one way to do things. And, you know, I don't think people are really understanding that. Like, it's so many different ways to do things. So when you say that has to be another class and stuff, yes, it does, because, you know, people are stuck on this one way of doing things, this one life set, this whatever we've been taught. But it's more than one way. Part of it is, you know, being able to access your ancestral memories and stuff. A lot of people are not using all their parts of the brain. They're not accessing these things. So just because you've been taught this one thing, that doesn't mean that's the only way that we have available to us to do something, you know? So we got to get back in touch with that, because that's why we're having all these issues. We're not being creative and accessing these other ways of doing things. Even if you haven't seen it done the way that you're thinking of it, it doesn't mean that you can't try, and you, even though you might make mistakes, you got to problem solve through it, you know?
Very well said.
We're looking at just the tradition. I think we're looking at the traditional ways that we've been taught to do things. And the traditional ways of doing things can be done in different ways too. You know, it's just we have intellect as human beings, and we have to start using that, you know?
Indeed. And the term that I would like to recommend you use is most people, because, you know, just like I already emphasized, to abstain from release. I'm very familiar with that. So, and you the one put it on the table, and I know my sister knows, so it's others more than, you know, us. So I agree. Definitely.
Hey, if a man is doing this, if he's in a polygamous relationship and he's got 3 or 4 wives, he's not going to be able to sustain all these women if he's always using all, you know, that energy in that way. So that's being unrealistic too. You're not going to be able to satisfy 4 women in that way. After a couple of times, you're going to need a break for about a week.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Or a good insurance policy. You know, a six-man team, something. Exactly right. Yes, indeed. And just like what you're saying, there's a big difference between being able to handle a desired course instead of just wanting to do something. Because, you know, if you don't have your skill sets up, you can seriously hurt yourself in those kind of situations. Meaning as far as men, you know. Women,
right.
a totally different being, you know. But men, exactly. Totally agree with you. It's accurate.
Yeah, I mean that's why it's not just about that sexual part. We gotta expand our mind beyond that. We have to.
Yeah, that's why communication is the key, you know, first and foremost, because, you know, just like going shopping, there's a lot of department stores, they sell a lot of items in those department stores, a lot of things look good, but is that what you really want? You know, what's your purest and highest intent? You know, is it to reach your peak? Is it to have a community to help you sustain and maintain yourself? Or is it going to be a truly wholesome, you know, nation-building relationship? You know,
All right now.
That's my pet peeve. Everything is governed by intent more than in desire, and you should know the difference between the two.
But I have a question. You know.
All right.
You got the floor.
Where you at,
Yeah,
man?
because we were talking about multiple things, but, you know, couldn't a woman energize her man where he can ejaculate and she can't energize him? You know, because I've known some women that had me go to work, and I was running around throwing railroad switches. You know, so it's not always a tape. You know, sometimes a man can program himself where he can ejaculate and pull from her heart chakra, or she could just pull him close and let him ejaculate. And while he ejaculates, when that thing opens up, she can push in energy. So it ain't always like it's a crippling effect. So if you did have 4 women and 1 man, if they were trained to produce energy, they can produce energy. They can heal him simultaneously. You know, like when I was young, my mother was like, used to say, all your women look alike. And I'm like, I didn't understand that. But later, when I grew into learning about chakras, I understood that I usually laid down with a woman that was a natural healer. You know what I mean? Her gift was so when I lay beside her, just her laying there, she would be like healing and repairing and healing and repairing you. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it's more like a multiplex and duplex system when you're making love to a woman. You know what I mean? Or if she's, and especially when the woman is definitely making love to you, because then there's an energy exchange that's almost like building a planet when the black hole pushes energy out into making a star. And there are women that can do that. So it doesn't have to be a thing where because you ejaculating with 4 different women that you're exhausted. It depends on the woman and sometimes the man. And I yield the floor.
All right now, where my sister? She still there?
Well, speak to that.
Hello?
Guest?
I'm here.
That's an
I'm
interesting
here.
question he asked.
Yeah. Did you hear? Hello? I'm up here saying hello. My mic is even going out.
Okay, yeah, I didn't hear you for a minute, sis.
I'm sorry. Okay. Now, do you want me to answer it or you want to go for it?
You answer, sis.
Okay. Now, speaking to what he was talking about, a woman energizing. And that's more what we had a conversation before. That's more of what we call sacred sexuality and connection. And tapping into that energy, that esoteric energy that women carry, that loving energy that women carry. You know what I mean? That's what you're tapping into. And then ejaculating, yes, they can heal. That is why they have practices of sexual magic for prosperity, sexual magic for health, sexual magic for all types of things. So, yes, it can be done. It's not only done to procreate, but like I also said, sometimes the man doesn't have to ejaculate completely. There's another way to ejaculate without releasing sperm. You know what I mean? Your orgasm is a release. That connection with that sister or the other sisters that you're with in the bedroom. You follow what I'm saying? Hello? Did I mute you?
You didn't mute
I don't
me.
know. Okay. Hello?
I experienced that. Can I be heard?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted. Yeah.
Everybody that's on, your mic is open. If you didn't hear me, I didn't hear you. Go for it. Did you understand what I was saying?
You asking me?
Yes, because you the one that asked the question, love.
But I kind of posed a question. That that's something that has happened to me. So I would automatically understand it. I just posed it to put it out there for the audience.
Oh.
Because that's another perspective that you can be in a multi-relationship and it doesn't have to be a drain on a man or a female. You know what I mean? It can be an simple energy exchange. You know, and plus, you know, there's times when a woman could come in and just say, I want to relax my man and make him lay down, and she get on top and do all the work, and that man don't be exhausted when she get off his ass. He'd be ready to go up and cut down some trees and shit. Just, you see what I'm saying? So it's about how you project that stuff.
Hold on. I'm a PG-13 show.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll be cool.
Well, maybe you have to change my rating.
I'm mute now. You know, I'll let you, Eddie, you know, y'all the eloquent ones. I'm ghetto, so I'm going to mute out, you know. But thanks for taking my call.
Oh, no problem, love. You know that. No problem, but I understand, and I like that. That is running energy, and that's what we as couples, you're running energy through people. And it, like you're saying, all relationships don't have to be sexual, can be of the mind. That's why I'm talking about there's different kinds. There's 5 different orgasms that men and women can have together. You can have an orgasm with a man just sitting there connecting your chakras and running energy through each other. You can have an orgasm with a man just touching you or a woman just touching you lightly. You know what I mean? Because that energy, when it emerges, like we are energetic beings, and people don't realize our energetic beings. We run electricity through your body. You have current. That's why you get static. When you rub your hands together, you feel the energy, like when they talk about Reiki, your hair stand up, you know what I mean? All kinds of things. We're energy. We're energetic beings. That is like called the essence of your whole being. You run through electricity. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say, Big Bruh, what would you like to say? Because I didn't want to cut you completely off or make you lose your train of thought. You have the floor now. Okay. I guess I got the floor now. I don't know. Okay. Everybody just say one time if y'all on the line and y'all hear me. Hello?
I hear you.
I hear you.
Okay. I was talking to you. I said the floor is yours. I interrupted you, and I didn't want you to forget your thought. You know what I'm saying? Did you remember what you were supposed to say, love?
Who are you speaking to?
You.
Oh, what I was going to say?
Yeah.
Now, I did get distracted, but I will say this. I forgot the name of the book. I think it's called A Toasting of Longevity. It's a book on Chinese philosophy of health and sex. And they talked about this particular emperor, and he had multiple wives. And he would deal with them for, just like what the brother was speaking to, a specific reason. For healing and all of those things. It didn't specifically speak to the dynamics of these things, but it's, my thing again is governed by your intention. But the other thing I wanted to speak to was just like what you said and what he was speaking to. You could have the feeling of ejaculating, without releasing your seed. We did have a conversation about that, and then you use that energy to nourish, goes up your spine, Jacob's ladder, whatever you want to call it. It nourishes the brain, the pineal gland, whatever. But again, that also goes by. But it's definitely important to have that, or that skill set of your own, or for your mate to have that, because no, that's right. You did say it's a family show, so I'm not going to go there. But I'll just say it's important. It's important to choose your partners wisely. I'll just say that, because they are.
Yes, it is.
It's very important. I guess that's another reason why my spirit gave me that analogy of going shopping, and there's different, products in all department stores, and you should choose by your needs and intent more than what's available to you. But it's a beautiful discussion. But when a man gets up in age and things like that, it's definitely very important for him to abstain from releasing his seed, just like the sister was speaking to, unless you're doing it specifically for reproductive or procreation. I yield on that.
All right.
Thank you.
I got you. Yeah. I mean, that's something that is taught, like through the teachings of Dosha, through the teachings of Tantra, through the teachings of different sexual sacred sex from different orders, learning about the lingam, learning about the yoni, learning about the function, also learning about the prostate and the part that it plays in your body. These are very important for a woman and a man in a relationship to know how they function, but also getting connected and getting grounded with each other. You know what I mean? Like, I believe this is my thing, that when you are with someone, you're actually connected to them. And everybody they've had relationships with. Everybody they've had relationships with. If they have not did any cleansing, did any work or whatever, you take on, I call it the octopus syndrome. You have your, your sexual organ is going to go like that, and it sends out octopus hands, and it attaches to each and every person that they've been with. That's what it feels like those suction cups. It's like they're all suction, and that's where that is into. So you take that into your being. So imagine you do that, and everybody they've had relationship with is, and it comes on and on and on. You see how many people in unhealed relationships that bring. You know what I mean? For that. But when you do it and you take some of these classes or get some of these teachings from an elder or whatever, you're learning how to break out of that mold and release, as my teacher would say, the hook that you got in the past, to be able to be open to the people in your future to bring that joy. So then you're able, and maybe a little bit more balanced, to understand and be in a positive, rewarding poly relationship, because you no longer have hooks in the other past relationship. You don't have the baggage. And I believe some people being in a poly relationship, they have to unpack those bags. They're not hidden. They're open for the world, they're open for their partners to see, not the world to see, but their partners to see all the baggage they come with. It gets unpacked. And this person has a decision whether they want to deal with it or not. And it takes a big responsibility to be with multiple partners and willing to grow with your multiple partners. Because as you know, any marriage, you have your baby stage, your gaga boo-boo, and you go up, you get that toddler stage, you get the bully teenager stage, then you get, the elderly stage where you're settled, you're kind of foundation. You may get some hiccups. Don't get me wrong in all those stages, but that's how I see relationships. You grow and you get stronger and stronger, and it gets really just wonderful. That's what I'm saying, because you've grown each other and now you really know each other. And I'll give you something that Ruby B said to someone. If you only been with somebody for 10 years, you really don't know them. You know what I'm saying? You really don't know them. Try being with somebody 40 years. She said at 10 years, you're still cutting your teeth. That's really deep. You're still, think about it. You've been in a relationship with somebody. You are still cutting your teeth. You really don't know him. You really don't know her. Could you imagine? Somebody telling you, oh, wow, man, you're like, I got 10 years invested. You're not even pre-adolescence yet. That's how I look at it. That's what relationship for it to work in that aspect of poly. So, you want to weigh in or anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to ask another question. Is it important or does it matter to do an astrological chart on the person that you're considering to bring into your fold?
For me, is it directed for me? Heck yeah. Heck yeah, for me. It's very important. I mean, it gives you a glimpse at that person, but just a glimpse, and it can sum it up. When you're doing your charts and you're doing it compared together, because of that connection. So I like that, because you can find out where the disbalance or disharmony and the balance of harmony can be in a relationship. For me, yeah, most definitely. You need an astrological chart because you need to know what the foundation is built on and where you're going to go, for me, and to talk about it. And if they understand exactly where you're going to go. And, be cooperative. For me, it plays an important part. What do you think, sis? Okay. I don't know. All righty. Are you there, sis?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm on this. Okay, so what do you think on that aspect of astrological charts of mate to be and future mates, or I guess I should ask that, right? Of getting together with someone or being long term? That's because that could go different ways too.
I'll pull everybody's astrological chart. Children, I'll pull everybody's, most people that I'm going to be dealing with in a close, intimate type of manner, because, like you said, it just gives you a better idea of how you can balance listening. And just that insight, you know, is worth 1,000 words. Honestly, sometimes we talk so much, but if we just use some of our tools that we have available to us like that, you know, it won't just be, you know, a discussion. Here we can actually, you know, bring something meaningful, you know, into it to apply. Instead of just having it be about emotions or how somebody feels or what people think should happen. You know, there's some concrete evidence or, you know, information available to you that, you know, you can actually use to say, you know, let's bring this truth in and see how we can apply it to make things better. That's just using our, you know, creative and problem-solving ability. So I'm definitely with it, and I definitely agree. And that was a very, very deep and great question. Great question.
Yeah, so it's deep. Because, you know, in certain religions, that's what they do in order for them to get married or to start dating. They do an astrological chart on their future mate or their soon-to-be mate before they do it. Matter of fact, in our Vedic medicine, they get charts before they do a business. They get a Vedic chart for all things, aspects of their children to see how they can guide them to be more in a certain way. They get astrological charts, which I think is like amazing that they do that. And they tell them maybe different stones that they could use or different things that they can use. You know what I mean? So that's really, really positive. For me, you know, I love that aspect of really getting to know, like, you're looking at the charts, and if you know how to read them yourself, it's even better because then you'll be able to know what houses what needs to be fixed and all of that other good stuff, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Because you know how to certain time plan stuff, like for that different mate, and they'll learn something about you as well, getting these charts done. So I like that in that religion that, you know, they get their charts for their baby. The baby's born on this day. They hire somebody and they do a chart for them. And sometimes that even helps with their name, if you know what I mean. Yeah. My show is just drop it and drop it and drop it. It dropped all kinds of people. It's just me. I'm down to me. Okay. Big Bro, you on? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I done lost like 4 people again. I was like, I don't know, but I'm not liking Blog Talk right now. It's not my friend. It is not my friend because it's not working out too well. I had one person, they didn't drop, or they did drop, or they came back on, but I don't know. And I got somebody on Facebook, which I want to say hello. I couldn't wait to you and trying to figure this out, but I'm still live somehow, some way. Don't know how to make it work, but I ain't gonna worry about it. I got 10 minutes left. Don't know what's going on. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if this is her. Hello?
You hear me? Yeah, my other phone went dead.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, we was.
Like I told you, we only got 15 minutes left, so it's like it's not bad. You know, like I've been losing different people. So, like I lost 4, 2 came back, and one person actually stayed on, so I'm happy they're actually on. So I want to see if they want to say anything. Okay. 347, I am going to unmute your line. Where's that from? Hello, 347? Do you have anything you want to say? Okay. I guess not. Oh, God. Oh, here we go. So, okay. So, now, there's also counselors that work with poly couples to actually get over some issues they can have. And you might want to seek someone that has not knowledge and not judgment on poly relationships, because that can damage you in a relationship as well, because they don't have the understanding of that relationship. So you want to seek out your counsel wisely when you're going through maybe some hiccups in your relationship. And there are some people that have been in poly for 20 years and they live in the same house and gone on and raised kids together, and they decided they want to add somebody else. And someone is feeling not away or not attractive. So when that comes up, that needs to be dealt with by all partners about that other person's feeling, and that person is feeling inadequate or jealous or different anger or any kind of emotion about another person. Sit down together and talk about it and deal with it. So going to a counselor to address that. It might be some other issues going on. It also might be, which we don't talk about, post-traumatic birth syndrome.
Sure.
Some women go through post-traumatic depression, and that's not addressed much. I mean, it is a big thing because your hormones are going through so much as a woman. So much that you're feeling self-conscious, you're not feeling maybe the best you can look at. And what I want to say to my sisters out there when you're going through this, realize you did the best thing possible and you conquered death. Every time you lay down and give birth, you conquer death. Or how many men can say that? They've given birth and conquered that. But women can, so because it's a life or death thing when you're giving birth. In a way, French say when you have an orgasm, it's a little petit, you go through death, a little bit of death. And that way, an orgasm is a little bit of death. I don't know about that. I don't know. Let me ask my brother. Do you know anything about a little bit of death as an orgasm where you felt like you were on the verge of dying and not coming back?
You asking me that?
Yeah.
I never experienced that.
Okay, I'm just saying. They say it's a little more petit, so it's very restricted to death. So I think
I strive to stay in the driver's seat in my own being. So no, I've had some experiences where I came to a point that I acknowledged that how can I say it? Felt like I was losing myself. Felt like I was coming out of myself, and so I definitely got back in control of my being, I guess is the best way to say it, and so I made it out of that war all right.
I know you did.
I was not the casualty in that one. No, I was not the casualty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's another reason why I emphasized earlier about intent and knowing, because, there's all kind of people and beings, and sometimes, well, I think I shouldn't embark on that conversation because that might kind of shift things, so I yield the floor. But, yes, I definitely had an experience where, I had to get back in control of myself,
Okay.
And it almost felt like astral traveling without being in the driver's seat.
Okay, I like that. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Healing. And also connection. That's what the connection is so important. So I want to emphasize to the people that are in polyamorous relationships to make it work. It's like a puzzle. You're figuring out which piece goes where and how to make it work. And no one relation is the model for all relationships. There's all kinds of models for relationship, but only you as an individual in the poly relationship can make it work and sit down and talk about what your boundaries are and what you won't. Boundaries. That's basically number one, your boundaries are. And how does it work for you in this relationship with your multitude of that you have? And like I said, everything is not sexual, but, the way Hollywood, everything is sexualized. But then that's how they sell stuff. They make it, ooh. But this is more on, actually poly is more of a spiritual, awakening, connection kind of thing in learning lessons of maybe not being selfish or learning lessons of not jealousy, but learning lessons to build and to strive and get stronger. And I'm not saying you can't do that in a monogamous relationship. You can. You just pick your individual that you want to build that relationship. I'm not against monogamy, and I'm not against polygamy or poly relationships. I'm not. What you choose to do is up to the individual. You got to do what works for you and makes you feel happy. But if you're unhappy, you need to be honest with your partner and let them know. You need to be honest. And before you commit something like that, you got to think of all the lives you affect when they bring you in their fold. So really court your partner that is in the poly relationship. Really take it in stride what you all mean to each other and what you all bring to the table. Because if you decided in maybe a year or so, children, families become broken. So think very hard about being in that relationship and being part of that family, because it can have devastating. And after you lose a partner being in a poly, what people need to do is it's a grieving process. Some people just don't jump back on it, and it goes in different ways. It might be anger, it might be sadness, it might be rejection, it could be acting out, There's all kinds of things that emotion people go through. It's a grieving process because they're losing someone. Even though they might not be that far, but they're still not in that close-knit unit they were once in. And it affects everyone. And everyone grieves different, from the children to the women to the men, and even other family members, because they welcome them in their home and spend time with them. So this is very important during this time to think about the poly relationship and how you work together. And it also might be income loss by this person actually leaving. So you need to think about that and make a way that it's not devastating to all of you. And talk about it. Breakup with any breakup is hard, just like getting divorced. Basically, that's what it is. It's a divorce. You're going different ways. So, and don't be angry, but be grateful if it's something that person taught you. Is the best way to put it. They taught you a lesson of some things, and now you know for next time, or if you want to, or you might decide that's it. So everybody has different ways they do different things. So, you have anything else you want to say, Sis? I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now
you hear me now? Okay.
Yes,
a lot of us sometimes have an issue when we're in a relationship with one person. So I just want to encourage everybody to look deep within yourself search out the parts of yourself where you may not be whole and nourish those parts of yourself before trying to get in any relationships, a monogamous, any type of poly relationship. You know, sometimes we want to create something, but we're not in alignment. And if we're not in alignment, we won't be able to create a relationship with one person, let alone many. So we have to do deep soul searching and just look within ourselves and be honest with ourselves and recognize those parts of ourselves that do need healing. We don't want to put that healing on anybody per se as a job for them. You know, we want to make sure that we're doing our part to also heal ourselves and be whole so we can give our whole self to individuals and not just different parts of ourselves, because we're struggling to try to have relationships with one person. So you have to be able to master certain things within yourself before you can actually come together with other people to create and to build, you know, something that's going to be worthwhile. So I just want to say that and put that out there, because that is going to be very challenging, you know, to someone who has experienced various unhealthy relationships. You're not going to just be able to jump in a relationship with several different people if you don't have a good relationship with yourself.
That is awesome. Thank you, sis. I love that.
Yeah, that's like Biggie Small song. If you don't know, now you know.
Now, sis, you know what? We got so into the subject. You didn't tell anybody your name, your website. I was doing all the talking for you. You were supposed to talk about you a little bit, dude. I was like, no, we just went all in.
Okay, well, you know, I have a MSCD in metaphysical sciences, and my website, www.drdoracle.com. You can sign on there. I'm available for life coaching. I offer services for people to connect their right and left brain. I do readings. I do distance counseling. I do energy healings. I'm mostly available to a lot of people who are trying to connect with their higher mind. These are the people who generally reach out to me and, you know, want to get aligned within themselves so they can be able to create anything that they want to create, to overcome different problems I deal with, different anxiety disorders that people may have, and I do not use medication. So that's basically my MO, and that's everything I do. I have a channel on YouTube, The Oracle. I'm on there on YouTube, so you can find some of the different things that I do. I demonstrate those on there and talk about those on there, as well as my ability to provide psycho-spiritual counseling to people to help them live out their highest potential.
Say your website again, please.
Excuse me?
What's your website again?
www.Oracle, ORACLE.com.
Okay, because I didn't hear you clearly before. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good. What do you like? No, it's all good. It's a wonderful thing. I thank you for being a wonderful guest and answering some of those tough questions, but I like that we put a positive spin on it. I'm going to ask my brother, what did you think of the show? Did it feel like it's a male-bashing show?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
It's information because, we're all here. And just like a few of the things that you spoke to, it's very important to have conversations because everybody has their right to be. And in order to have a harmonious relationship, regardless of your intent, you need to put it on the table. Everybody doesn't see everything exactly the same way, so that demonstrates that either they're not at your level or whatever the case may be. So I think it was definitely a well-deserved, actually it was a beautiful show. And I appreciate both of you, everybody that participated. And, I think we all got a little bit more wiser from, this experience. I know I have. Thank you.
Thank you. So, sis, what did you think of the show? I mean, did you get anything from it, or?
I definitely did. My consciousness was expanded. I think it, really explored this in a fair way, because sometimes I don't feel like, maybe sister wives is given a little bit more weight than brother husband.
Right.
And I think we basically, gave both of those, we looked through both of those lenses in an equal manner, and just kind of brought up, a lot of the things that might scare a lot of people about those types of relationships, So mostly I hear a lot of, fear from men concerning that. And I just hope that was a real eye-opener, for them as well, to be able to see how such a situation can be beneficial to them, as well as not just having the multiple wives, just
I like
looking at that as a realistic option, But I think it was.
I like that.
Our show enjoyed y'all. I enjoyed y'all. I enjoyed y'all. I enjoyed everybody. I enjoyed the opportunity to just conversate with like-minded individuals who, actually have an open mind and are not closed off to looking at different ways of doing things. I always enjoy that. I consider myself to be on that, on the same frequency, with you guys, and that's what I enjoy mostly. Just, being able to have a conversation, and be on the same frequency, and, not be looked down on, or the information be looked down on, like, no, we're not going to discuss this. We're going to be closed off to this, So thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Oh, thank you. I had a wonderful time. I had a blast, and I love giving you guys information. I had some hurdles to get through, but what I'm going to say right now, we're going to listen to Denise, like I said, the little song of Going Out. What is it? What is the song? I can't find. We're going to do On the One, and we're going to mellow out with it. How's that? So here we go. Denise Lyle Cook, y'all. Yes, right there.
expanding my energy, touching the outer rim of the universe. Yes, right there. Yeah.
In the beginning, few believed. But we knew the UFC was meant for much more. So we kept fighting, battling through every obstacle, and building our sport from the ground up. Now the few have become 284 million strong and growing. Our journey has brought us here to the biggest stage in sports. This is what we've been fighting for. The UFC is home on ESPN+. Start your free trial of ESPN+ today. In the beginning, few believed. But we knew the UFC was meant for much more. So we kept fighting, battling through every obstacle, and building our sport from the ground up. Now the few have become 284 million strong and growing. Our journey has brought us here to the biggest stage in sports. This is what we've been fighting for. The UFC is home on ESPN+. Start your free trial of ESPN+ today.